You know what the limitation is. If you thought it would be a one-size-fits-all vlogging solution,
congratulations, you played yourself.
So this is a Xiaomi DJI Osmo Pocket, essentially. This is the Fimi Palm. We have it in studio today, and we're going to be comparing it and comparing the footage of it to a DJI Osmo Pocket. I'm in a lot of back pain right now, but we've got the Fimi Palm and the DJI Osmo Pocket next to each other. Gonna go hang out on some monkey bars and hopefully stretch my back out a little bit. Oh, you know what the limitation is. If you're filming in narrow, it defaults to 1080p. You can't film narrow. You can't film narrow.
No,
yep.
no.
If you thought it would be a one-size-fits-all vlogging solution,
congratulations, you played yourself.
let's check dynamic range. Areas here. Some darker areas here. Here's. So, how bad does the sky look? How bad do the buildings look? The buildings would be overexposed, whereas the tree would be underexposed. This is like the mom test, okay? Like the mom vlogging.
Okay, so here we are trying to walk and talk simultaneously, which that is probably one of the greatest challenges many vloggers face. You don't realize the hazards that are out there when you're not paying attention to where you're going, and then you find yourself stepping off of a sidewalk into traffic. Things you should really be careful about. Point of view is so different on both of these. I think it's easier for the Fimi Palm because of the field of view, because I have to hold this out a lot further. Holding these at equal distance, they had been in equal distance, but they're even further away now, at arm's length. And this is walking, right? This is walking, this is talking, this is being somewhat careful, but not too careful to worry about up and down movement. So we're testing the gimbal on some pavement, turning, who's following. There we go. Both of them have nice follow feature. Face tracking is engaged on both. So, how's the dynamic range here? We're changing it up a little bit. We're gonna go behind this building. Try to find some shadows. It's overcast here in Hanoi. What if I just simply duck down for a moment? Okay, I'm in a darker area now. Can we see a difference in the dynamic range? I think it's going to be obvious, but both of them are doing a pretty decent job of tracking. Losing light. Here's the change. What do we have that's different? Losing light. So you got white behind me. Should look different on both of them. How are the greens behind me? What looks more realistic? Everything's on auto from what I can tell. And
so a question that a lot of people will probably have here is the Fimi Palm is approximately $200, right? If let's say your budget for a phone is $400, okay? Would spending an extra $150, $200 on a phone. Okay? Would that get you substantially better quality? Would it get you better audio quality? Because it's not just the stabilization, right?
Right.
It's the full thing. It's the field of view. It's the dynamic range.
Stability and audio quality.
Right. Stability is only one factor if you're trying to take a camera like that, right? And like maybe a cell phone with a little cell phone tripod, like a decent quality little cell phone tripod, and maybe even, you know, you can get like a USB-C mic that plugs into
your phone, and I mean, we're talking ultra high quality, small USB-C mic, right? Plus maybe a little vlogging tripod. Is the image stabilization, is it that worth it?
I don't know. It depends on if you're using this exclusively for vlogging, or if this is going to be maybe a dedicated B-roll camera, if you're into that. I know a lot of people have bought the DJI Osmo to let it serve as a pocketable B-roll camera.
Yeah. Right. Because even though these little cell phone gimbal camera things, these little gimbals, even though they support like 3-axis movement or 4-axis movement, it doesn't change the Z-axis, the up and down, right? And electronic image stabilization on cell phones can account for some of that. We're gonna hop into the studio and compare some footage next.
Excellent.
After reviewing the footage a little bit, I have a couple of takeaways. I have some other thoughts about if it's like worth it. I'm going to be doing a separate video about whether or not you should buy the FIMI Pro / DJI Osmo. Subscribe to my channel for when I put that video out in the next couple days. First takeaway from this is that the sensors of both of these devices are really quite similar. The dynamic range on both of them is really quite similar. The place that we see the biggest difference is the field of view. The FIMI has a field of view that's much closer to that of a GoPro, whereas the DJI Osmo Pocket has like a 25 millimeter equivalent focal range, which gives you a slightly more cinematic look. The disadvantage of that is that oftentimes the DJI Osmo can be out of focus, depending upon like how close or how far you are to it, it can lose focus on you. Next one is like the overall fiddliness and user experience, user interface. The UX on both of these is pretty similar. The FIMI does have a slightly larger screen. The DJI Osmo has a slightly more intuitive, like overall user layout, but I have to say that both of these devices are quite similar in regards to the ease of use. The next downside to the FIMI though is that you only have 4K in the ultra wide field of view. It does have different view modes, kind of the way GoPro does, but unfortunately, if you use those modes, it defaults to 1080p. Now, this is an advantage over the DJI Osmo Pocket because the DJI Osmo Pocket doesn't really give you different fields of view. The next big difference between these devices is that the FIMI Pocket is capped at 4K 30, whereas the DJI Osmo Pocket is capped at 4K 60. Now, if you watched any of my other videos, and I'll have a link to that like up here, about why you might want 4K 60, you would know that 4K 60 gives you the ability to slow down your footage as well as cropping it a little bit to change the field of view. Is this that big of a deal in real world use? Well, it depends if you care about 4K or if you're trying to incorporate 4K into your workflow at all. I would say from a creative standpoint that if I'm spending the money on a device like this, I kind of want 4K, and especially 4K 60. At the same time, I think 4K 60 on the FIMI would be a much bigger deal because it has a wider field of view. So being able to crop into like a 2.7K image at 60 frames a second and slow that down would really give a sizable benefit to buying the FIMI over the DJI Osmo Pocket. Now, which one should you buy? This is a really tough decision. But if you're looking for an action camera replacement, the fimi Pocket would be a better action camera replacement, even though it's capped at 4K 30, just based on the lens. If you're looking for a stabilized B camera, just in general, the DJI Osmo Pocket would be a better option because of the 4K 60 and because of the more cinematic field of view. Whether or not you want to buy an action camera replacement with a delicate, breakable 3-axis gimbal is up to you. But let me know what you guys would buy in the comment section down below. Peace.